Okay, finally back recording more Katawa Shoujo of all things. I still haven't finished this, and then I got sick, so I wasn't able to do much of anything for a while. I ended up having to take like a week off of work with no pay. I've still been working on part 2 of the Snoot game video, but in the meantime I just kind of want to chill out and read some stuff with slight voice acting that is inconsistent. Katawa Shoujo. I don't know why it took so long to load. Apparently my copy of the game does weird stuff that people don't normally see. I don't know why, maybe it's just because it's old, maybe it's something to do with the drivers. I wake up all sweaty, as if I had run a half marathon in my sleep. Odd, I don't recall sleeping badly. It sends a little pang of worry through me. I wouldn't want to have my heart acting up without being able to notice it. Still, apart from this odd exhaustion right after waking up, I'm feeling just fine. My mouth is like sandpaper, and I have nothing to drink, so I have to go all the way to the bathroom to take my meds. On impulse, I decide to take a shower while I'm at it. While I'm in the shower, I make up my mind that this counts as morning exercise if I properly compensate with a nice half-hour walk after school. Obviously, I wouldn't want to risk possible complications by going running now. Besides, Emmy will never know, and I think she's giving up on me in any case. Walking could be nice, anyway, just to get to know the area. There's a big forest in the hills behind the school, or I could go down to the convenience store. While still dabbing the moisture off my skin, I set out to find my uniform. I quickly button up my shirt and pull on my pants before going outside. Normally during this time of year, I'd be eagerly awaiting summer vacation. Having only been at school for a little over a week, I don't really have that kind of feeling. I'm still savoring the school life and considering the sharp and awkward turn my life has taken. I haven't had the time to become preoccupied with getting free of it. Besides, once vacations hit, it'll be a nice surprise for me if I'm not expecting it, especially with the end-of-term exams looming ahead. At least I don't have any catching up to do with my studies. My diligence has finally paid off. I push myself past the boys gathered in the doorway and flop into my seat. Seems like sometimes it doesn't move unless I move my mouse first, otherwise it'll just stall. From the corner of my eye, I can see Shizune and Misha pause their unavoidably animated conversation and turn almost simultaneously in my direction. Oh, what do they want? They clearly want something from me. I can tell from the way Shizune smiles. It's too obnoxiously bright to be sincere, and too calculated to be spontaneous. Good morning. Her greeting is made of 100% cheer and bursting with energy. Morning. I failed to put either of those into my response. You don't look very energetic. No wonder. I don't feel very energetic either. I think I didn't sleep well, but I'm not sure. She slaps me in the back and grins. Cheer up a bit. It's a great day. I catch Shizune's eyes. She has a strange, focused expression on her face, but she furrows her brow a little bit at the direct eye contact and looks away. For a moment, I think that Shizune caught a glimpse of my worries somehow, and is pondering how to respond, but then she quickly straightens her glasses, and with them, her expression. Anyway, we were wondering if you were still interested in that student council position, because we're going to make an offer that you can't decline. Wait, what? I wasn't really interested in the first place. You're putting words in my mouth. Not as such, but wouldn't it be nice to hang out with us every day while also being useful to your school? No. Not really, no. Well, to tell you the truth, I kinda joined a club, so it'd actually be sort of hard for me to join the council, too. Even if I wanted to, which I don't, as I said. Is that so? Which club is it, Hee-chan? The art club. Shizune's eyes glint in a sinister way as she scowls at me. With the way she looks, I'll be expecting the art club to lose its funding before lunch break, or the art teacher to mysteriously disappear from the face of the earth. Before she manages to comment, the teacher finally enters the classroom, getting Shizune and Misha off my back and sending everyone rummaging into their bags for books and pens. I did join the art club, but first meeting didn't really boost my confidence. I'm not really sure what I'm doing it for. I wish I could draw like Rin, but I don't know what I would do if I could. To what end would I use such a skill? I don't really know. Ignoring the teacher's sleep-inducing voice, I open my notebook to an empty page and press the needle-sharp graphite pencil onto it. What to draw? I can't really think of anything good to draw. As I hesitate and raise my hand, a meek black mark left on the previously blank paper seems aggravating. I can't even seem to get to the starting line, let alone get started. It's almost a physical feeling of being held back. Annoyingly, it reminds me of my failed attempt at jogging with Emmy. I look out of the window in desperation. Right then, a small bird takes flight from one of the cherry trees that grow everywhere on the school grounds. I can't really see it clearly, and it's not like I could tell one tiny bird from another, but I pick it as my subject anyway. Conjuring up the image of a bird in my mind's eye, I turn my gaze back to the notebook and deliberately draw a thick line across the paper to get started. It seems to be mocking me, as I can't follow up right away. Still, it's a start. Getting started is good. I slowly sketch the picture onto my notebook page. The image in my brain is becoming clearer as the drawing takes shape. Okay, kinda looking bird-like. It's really nothing, just that nameless nothing bird on paper, but that's not important. Okay, not bad. My hesitation fades into the background along with the teacher's voice as I continue my struggle. The feathers form a simple pattern in my mind, but on paper it's a mess of too many rough lines despite my best efforts. I realize that I don't really know what a bird's wing should look like, even if I try to think about it. I even put the pencil down and close my eyes for a moment, trying to trace the shape of a wing in my mind. Being this serious about it all of a sudden makes me a little frustrated. Art class in middle school was the easy class, in between exhausting subjects like math or Japanese, but there's this other side to art, the one that you see when you don't just fool around. It's almost like a completely different thing. Hee-chan. I look up to see two girls staring back at me. Misha and Shizune have carried their chairs over to my desk and are now standing by my sides, looking at my drawing. How long have you two been here? I think you need more practice. Shizune draws a few sharp signs in the air between herself and Misha. Shi-chan agrees. Rin said the exact same thing yesterday, but why did it sound less condescending? You shouldn't judge before I'm finished. Besides, don't you know it's bad luck to see an unfinished piece of work? Misha cracks at exuberant laughter. What? Don't be silly. There's no way that could be true. Whatever. Shizune's eyebrows furrow dangerously, and the movements of her hands become abrupt, like the slashing of a knife. You should learn to take constructive criticism better. I would if you'd actually offer some. I know I'm getting too defensive and that Shizune is taking advantage of it, but I can't help it. What are you two doing here, anyway? Misha wags her finger admonishingly at my nose. Hee-chan, were you not listening to the teacher at all? We have a group assignment now. I nod bleakly and let them take the lead. So what did you think of the lesson for today? Not much of anything, I didn't listen to a word of it. Misha slaps her forehead and shakes her head theatrically. What are we gonna do with you, Hee-chan? Luckily, Shizune and Misha together are more effective than 3 or 4 normal people, so I can mostly slack on the assignment. I try my best to offer at least some assistance, but I end up being mostly useless. The teacher keeps us in class 5 minutes past the lunch bells, but eventually lets us off the hook. I quickly stuff my books into my bag while Shizune and Misha carry their chairs back to their own seats. The failure of a bird drawing ends up crumpled and stuffed into my pocket as I hurry outside. Oh, it wasn't that bad, actually, for, like, not having a reference. Feathers are hard to draw. Everything is hard to draw. Katawa Shoujo. After that morning class, and throughout the week, I keep bumping into Rin. Hello. This is somewhat natural, as our classrooms are adjacent, but rather than just cross paths in the hallway like people regularly do, we seem to pause at the sight of each other. We invariably end up talking a little bit, or just silently hanging out together. I think I'm getting used to being quiet in Rin's company, as it doesn't feel as awkward anymore. I am by nature somewhat introverted like her, so we fit together well. I think it's actually an anomaly for someone in the school to be so quiet. Most people here seem to love socializing. It's something that I've noticed already, even though I haven't been here very long. People here talk a lot, and they talk all the time. It's a rare case when I see someone sitting alone, just spacing out or whatever. Obviously, there are people like that here, too. That Hanako girl, and myself, just to name 2 from my own class, but overall they're a minority. At any rate, I wouldn't exactly call what Rin and I do socializing either, but it's something at least. These occurrences themselves don't bother me, but the fact that they happen at all does. I'd hesitate to say that we're drawn together by something, but we certainly act as if we were. Yeah, it's the narrative and the choices that I made leading up to this. However, this sense of budding friendship is completely wrecked every time Rin opens her mouth. Can I listen to your heartbeat? She says this, or something else, about as outrageous, and I have to fend off whatever nonsense her mind has cooked up during the preceding class of a subject that she's not interested in. It seems Rin has taken a shine to my heart condition as some kind of an extension of her interest in the odder disabilities that people here have, and the consequences of said afflictions. As I stand in front of her for a second too long, looking flummoxed as I am, she concludes it is necessary to further clarify her request. I know I can, but I mean, will you let me? Why? Do I need a reason? I'm usually pretty bad with reasons. Not per se, but if you want to do it, you probably do have a reason. That's kind of clever. You are smarter than you look. Also, I'd rather you not. I think these things should be private. Private, I get it. I can tell you something, though, if it amuses you. I'm pretty sure it will. My heartbeat does sound very weird because of the, condition. And I hear it all the time. So you're paranoid. It's not a question, it's a statement. No, I'm not paranoid. The doctor said that abnormal attention to a heartbeat is a common symptom of my condition. So for you, it's normal to be paranoid. Hey, how many people out there with anxiety? It's not a question either. One could also say that me being like this in the first place isn't normal either, but what the heck? Paranoia fits me fine. I don't think it's something that actually can fit anyone or anywhere. Tell that to Kenji, he's the king of paranoia. You know, I ate an orange today for breakfast. How was it? I'm vaguely proud of myself for managing to keep up with Rin's sudden change of topic. Excellent. I don't remember when I last ate an orange, because it's annoying to peel one. It's on the list of things that I want to learn properly. How come you ate one, then? Emmy had some, so she peeled one for me. Good for you. Rin stretches her back and yawns, and says nothing further. She throws me a glance from the corner of her eye while she watches people pass by, but I couldn't say why. I realize, though, that this is the first time I've talked naturally about my condition with anyone, in a way. A group of boys walk past us into Rin's classroom, but she doesn't pay them any mind. They pay none to her, either. My mind wanders off, spurred by the silence. Maybe I should have let her listen to my heart. It's not like it matters. Nothing really matters that much at the end of the day. I start feeling depressed for no reason again. It's like a tidal wave out of nowhere, rolling over my consciousness, submerging me underwater. I feel a sigh coming out of my mouth, and I turn away from Rin, pretending to read a poster on the wall. It's an advertisement for the school festival, promoting an event almost a week past. The difference between me and Rin is that I'll be more likely than not dead before turning 30, while she can't eat oranges without help. I can't decide which one of us is worse off. I kind of want to try to peel an orange without using my hands now. Like it's a challenge. I'm tempted. I bet I could make it work. The hard part would be keeping it still while using my teeth to remove the peel. But I bet I could. Anyway, I try to grasp the passing of time, but it seems hard. I'm still used to the rhythm of the hospital, where trivialities such as the day of the week or time of day didn't really matter. Everything was the same no matter what. Rediscovering the significance of time is an oddly disorienting experience, and I find myself enjoying the fact that I can categorize events in this fashion. The relevancy of a ticking clock is surprisingly delightful, and I decide to start wearing an analog of a wristwatch, something that I didn't used to do before. When I finally ask Rin on Thursday about something that's been bothering me for the entire week, it's already lunchtime. The time is somewhere between 11:06 and 11:07, as my watch doesn't have a hand to show seconds. It's the old-fashioned kind, with a black leather strap and a titanium casing. It doesn't look flashy, but a wristwatch doesn't need to. Hey. Remember that sketch you made of me? How you said I looked grim and gloomy or something? I'd like to know what you meant by that. She gives me a weird look and tilts her head a few degrees to the left, but doesn't say anything for a while. Well, you see, we've known each other for 2 weeks and I haven't seen you smile even once. Her striking observation gives me pause. Have I stopped smiling? I have to take what she says as truth. She has no reason to lie. Something about the way she puts it annoys me. I frown at Rin, then try to correct my expression to look less depressed. I haven't been in the cheeriest of moods during the past few months or so. This is true. Does it show so much that someone like Rin can tell after so little contact with me? Should I try to smile more at Rin? Maybe she could appreciate it, having such a neutral face herself almost all of the time. Have I really stopped smiling? I see. Should I smile more? I don't mind either way. Be as you are. You can't help being Hisao anyway. But it bothers you? I just noticed it, that's all. Emmy skips along the hallway, jumps to a sharp stop when she reaches us, and lightly pats Rin's shoulder. Ready for lunch? Depends on what lunch is today. Remember that stew from March? Never again that. Let's go anyway. I'm starving. As they're about to depart, Emmy turns from her friend to me, seemingly as an afterthought, and smiles charmingly. By the way, Hisao, her tone is way too sweet and soft to be sincere. I can sense the trap about to be sprung upon me by this miniature health devil. I know what she's about to say even before she continues, because I've been trying to avoid her all week. I still haven't seen you at the track this entire week. Maybe I've been there when you weren't. That's impossible. I'm there all the time. But you sleep and go to class. I do those at the same time as you do. Yeah, I know. I haven't been able to pick myself up. Don't rat me out to the nurse, okay? Running just isn't my thing, and I haven't come up with a good alternative. Why don't you come to the track meet this weekend? Maybe you'll get inspired. Track meet? Yeah, people from a few other schools come here for some friendly track and field action. It's on Sunday afternoon. I can't think of any reason not to go. Sure, I'll come and cheer for you. I guess you'll be running? Of course. You'll get to see me beat 'em all. But bye now. If I don't get something to eat, I'll die. See you later. Bye, Rin. I promise I'll smile next time. I call after her as a bit of an afterthought. Afterward, I feel embarrassed about it, and I wonder why I said anything at all. That night, when I'm doubly certain that Kenji won't be barging into the bathroom, I look in the mirror and smile at my reflection. The me in the mirror smiling at the me in the bathroom looks awfully fake. Katawa Shoujo. Having exhausted the books that Kenji lent me in just a few nights, I go back to the library, deeming it a safer alternative for getting my reading fix. I return the books he had stolen while I'm at it, to Yuko's delight. I don't tell her where I got them, though. Wow, you sure read a lot, don't you? Yeah, I guess I do. I mean, I do. Even I think it's weird. I think I might have a bit of a reading problem. Maybe I'm a junkie. No, I didn't mean it that way. It's not weird at all, and being addicted to reading is a lot better than being addicted to something else. Yeah, I know, it was a joke. I smile at her reassuringly and drop the books onto the counter so Yuko can check them out. I feel tired, so I sit down on the vacant chair in front of her desk. While Yuko goes through the modest pile of reading material I found, I let my gaze wander around the library. At the tables, a pair of girls is chattering in hushed tones rather than working on their homework. The short-haired one notices me looking in their direction and waves at me. While I raise my hand back, they glance at each other and giggle in unison. I'm not sure how I should feel about that, so I decide it's a good thing. The one who waved at me has a horrible case of epilepsy. I saw her having an attack a few days ago. It was one of the most disturbing and scary things I've seen in a long time. Yet there she is, happily chirping away about whatever as if she doesn't have a care in the world. You know, this school really is something else. Yuko raises her eyes from the book she was going through, slightly startled. She adjusts her glasses and puts on a nervous, confused smile. What do you mean? I don't really know how to explain it. It's just that everyone's so active, or how should I put it? It's not just the festival thing, I think. Even though I haven't been here that long, but it's everything. People talk more, work harder, and just are, more than any other school I've seen before. I'm struggling for words, but it feels like I'm speaking honestly. This school feels so alive. It's refreshing. Sure, there were some people like this in my old school, too, but not as many, and it feels more intense somehow. I think if I had to pin it down to one thing, it's that the students here really appreciate going to school. I don't think that's a bad thing. Yeah, me neither. Suddenly I realized that I've just been babbling my thoughts to Yuko out of the blue. She's a bit of a jumpy person, so I fear I might have made a bad impression. She's looking at me with what I hope is curiosity rather than horror, so I figure she's alright. Sorry for suddenly talking about weird stuff like this. I didn't mean to trouble you. Oh no, it's not troubling. I'm happy to listen if you feel like talking. It makes me feel a little reliable, too. Yuko smiles sweetly, and a bit ironically at that, I respond with a thankful smile of my own. As she pushes the neat stack of books across the counter, I stand up and gather them in my arms. Here you are. Thank you. I guess we'll be meeting each other again. Please come here anytime. Yuko's kindness is heartwarming. You can count on it. See you later. That was quick. Katawa Shoujo. The morning of the track meet greets me with brilliant sunshine from a crystal blue sky. While I leisurely stroll towards the track, I decide this is a good sign. Of what? I'm not sure. This event isn't exciting for me as it seems to be for the large portion of the student body. I'm even less interested in watching sports than I am in participating, but cheering for Emmy is a good cause. I'm not expecting this to be any sort of amazing and spectacular experience, but it can't hurt. I'd probably be spending the time reading while cooped up in my room otherwise. When I approach the bleachers, I spot Rin emerging from the crowd right before she spots me. You came... Of course, I said I would, didn't I? That doesn't necessarily imply that you had follow-through. Lots of people say things and don't mean them. Well, I don't. Rin shrugs, seemingly bored with our conversation. She turns on her heel and heads back towards the stands. So, are you excited about this? Not really. Me neither. Then why did you come? Why did you? She doesn't reply at all, so I decide not to either. We enter the bleachers and Rin nods upwards. Up there. Rin leads the way, and soon we've settled down on an almost empty bench. There's an older woman sitting next to Rin, someone's mother, I assume. She's got rather long hair done up in a braid. On seeing Rin, she gives her an oddly familiar-seeming grin. Well, this is surprising. I thought you went to get a snack, not a boy. Huh? This is no good? The woman laughs at Rin and shakes her head, apparently unable to find a comeback for that. I know the feeling. Well, I suppose you've always been one to go out for one thing and bring back another. But I'm being rude, I haven't introduced myself. I'm Meiko Ibarazaki. I'm sure that if you know this girl, you've at least met my daughter, too. Pleased to meet you. Well, that explains it. She's like a taller, older, more motherly Emmy. Apart from her hair being somewhat darker than her daughter's, there's really no mistaking the resemblance. Sorry, I'm Hisao. Hisao Nakai. Nice to meet you. I'm Rin. Tezuka. Mrs. Ibarazaki laughs again. She really does resemble her offspring, and then leans back a little on her seat and raises an eyebrow. So, now that we all know each other, how long have you and Rin been dating? My response consists of silence as my brain suddenly lurches into gear, but just before I can begin to utter a hastily babbled explanation, Emmy's mother bursts into laughter again. You're a blusher, aren't you? I don't know if there's any way to keep my dignity in this situation, so I settle for a mumbled response. We're not... I know, but it's funny to watch you squirm. I'm sorry, forgive an old woman her amusements. She chuckles again to herself. Old woman? She sure doesn't look that old to me. I suppose I can let it go. How kind of you. It's starting. I direct my attention to the track where they're preparing for the first sprint. It looks like the 400-meter dash. My eyes scan the runners before finding Emmy. She's smiling, with an almost cocky look on her face. The starter raises his pistol. Emmy explodes off the block, disappearing from the starting line in a blur. It's amazing. Even as the other sprinters converge on the lanes closest to the inside line, Emmy surges to the front of the pack. By the time she rounds the final turn, a few of the other runners have caught up with her. But she puts on a final burst of speed that leaves them at least half a second behind. Mrs. Ibarazaki whoops and shouts, applauding wildly and generally looking like any other parent cheering on their child. Emmy bounds off the track, looking pleased with herself. I cheer right along with the rest of them. The announcer, sounding suspiciously like Misha, gleefully gives the results. I think she's gotten faster since the last time. That was incredible. Mrs. Ibarazaki grins proudly. Emmy's a heck of a runner. We fall silent as the next event prepares to start. I'm surprised to see Emmy striding out onto the track again. Wait, didn't she just run? Emmy's mother nods. Yes, but she runs multiple events for the team, especially the sprints. It's a lot of running, but Emmy can handle it. From the looks of things, she's right. Emmy doesn't appear to be tired, as if she hadn't run the previous event at all. If not for the sweat visible on her shirt, you'd never know. Which event is this? It's the 200-meter dash. She'll do this one, the 100-meter, and the relay. I see. Once again, the pistol sounds, and once again, Emmy flies off the block. A thumping sound draws my attention away from the race. It's Rin's foot. She seems completely absorbed in the race. Emmy's mother cheers again, and I assume that the race is over. Sprints don't seem to me like they take very long to complete. Your foot... Your foot was bouncing on the bleachers. Oh. You seem pretty into this stuff. I'm surprised. I thought you said this wouldn't be exciting. I suppose you're right. It's not that interesting. But I'm watching Emmy, not the sport. I don't follow. Emmy's the most Emmy when she runs. You don't get to see Emmy at her Emmyest very often. But here you can, see? She directs my attention towards the track again, where the 100-meter dash is about to start. I watch Emmy closely. As she gets into the starter blocks, her whole body seems to relax, but it's a false relaxation. I can see that she's actually like a coiled spring. As the starter tells everyone to get set, her head snaps up and her eyes narrow slightly. Her mouth curls upwards in what could be a grin and what could be a growl. When the pistol goes off, it's as if she's been unleashed from a cage, like she was always moving at this blinding speed, but we couldn't see it happening until the starter's pistol dispelled the illusion of motionlessness. As soon as she crossed the finish line, the fierce look was replaced by her normal grin. The conquering general returning to his farm. Amazing. She's really amazing. I've never seen someone move that fast. Well, don't look at me. I'm far too relaxed to run that fast. No, I think Emmy's prowess all came from her father's side. At the mention of Emmy's father, Miss Ibarazaki looks wistful, almost sad. He got her into running, you know. Ah, really? I didn't know that. I leave it at that and don't say anything for a little while. I get the feeling this is something personal that I shouldn't ask about. A beeping noise suddenly emanates from Mrs. Ibarazaki's pocket. Reaching into it, she pulls out a cell phone and looks at it. Honestly, text messages? What is he, 16? Oh, nothing. I've got to go meet up with a friend of mine. Will you tell Emmy that I'm very proud of her and that I'll call her later tonight? Of course. While waiting for the relay to start, I peer at Rin. She seems uninterested in her surroundings, myself included. That remark she made before is still stuck in my head. Emmy is the most Emmy when she runs. It does make sense now that I think about it. After seeing her run now, I can believe that Emmy gives her all on the track. Sports are more than a hobby or even a competition to her. They're a defining aspect of her life. What about Rin then? Does she feel the same way about art? Considering the persistence that she displayed before the festival, I could easily believe it. Did I see Rin at her most Rin when she was painting the mural? The relay's about to begin, but I don't see Emmy anywhere. I thought Emmy ran the relay. She runs anchor, so she won't be running for a while yet. Did you see it? Huh? Emmy at her Emmyest. Maybe. Maybe this time. The race begins, and I cheer Emmy's teammates along as they pass the baton. I finally see Emmy sprinting onto the track to take the final handoff. Once again, I'm taken aback by how graceful she looks when she runs. It really is beautiful. The look of determination and fearlessness on her face only adds to the picture. Emmy at her Emmyest, I suppose. Emmy flies across the finishing line with a great leap, just barely ahead of the next runners, but still in first. Well, let's go down. Gotta crown the victor. See if you can find a laurel branch. That's not gonna be easy. Rin shrugs. least we tried. Emmy is surrounded by her teammates, all of them congratulating her on the run. Rin seems to be waiting for Emmy to notice that she's arrived. It doesn't seem her style to draw attention to herself, or to emote beyond shrugging. Being more impatient than Rin, I wave to Emmy in her stead. She looks up and grins happily at us. Hey, you showed up! We would have brought you a crown of laurels, but Hisao didn't find one. Neither did you. It wasn't my job to look. When did we assign jobs? When I said, see if you can find a laurel branch. Try to keep up. I shrug. I guess Rin's rubbing off on me. Seems it's my fault after all, Emmy. Emmy laughs at Rin and me. It's okay. I'm sure you'll make it up to me somehow. Sure. Good. So, how'd I look? Very impressive. Emmy seems pleased with this assessment. I don't mention how much more impressive her performance is given her lack of legs. I figure she knows that already. Besides, it seems like it would take away from her efforts somehow. Great to hear. I was worried that I looked a little slow on the relay, but I guess I did fine, huh? Emmy giggles and then seems to remember something. Oh, before I forget, Rin and I are going to do something next Sunday as a post-track meet celebration. You should come along. Normally we do it the day after, but since today is Sunday, I've got homework and class and all that stuff to take care of. Oh, sure, I'd love to. Great, it's a promise then. Oh, right, your mom wanted to say she's proud of you. She'll call you later tonight. I thought I saw her in the stands. I'm glad she made it. Hey, Emmy, you're gonna miss the medal ceremony. Oh yeah, thanks. She turns to Rin and myself. You don't have to stick around for this part, it takes forever. Besides, you should get cracking on your homework now if you don't want to be up late, Hisao. Emmy skips back to her teammates, leaving me and Rin by ourselves. Neither of us has the slightest interest in post-competition ceremonies, so we silently get away and back to the quad. Rin yawns without even trying to restrain herself and shuffles her feet around restlessly. Well, what is she gonna do, put her hand in front of her mouth? I feel awkward, but less so than if I was with someone else. Still, I'm left hanging, not knowing what I should say next. Emmy was great, wasn't she? She was great. I am very jealous of her. Why? Like I said, don't you think it's great to be able to really be yourself? That sounds weird coming from Rin. I don't think you of all people should have trouble finding a way to express yourself. Don't you have your paintings? She turns to look at me. For the first time I see in her eyes this strange, hollow expression that I think must be unique to her. No, you see, the problem is that I'm not really sure who I am. Huh. What, you're leaving it there?